Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Overwatch Contenders Trials for the EU region. We've got an excellent match coming up for you. It's going to be MorningStars Blue, who are 2-0, undefeated so far in Contenders Trials, going up against We Have Org, who are also 2-0. So this is definitely a match that you don't want to miss. How much are you looking forward to this match right now, Panda?
I'm pretty excited, actually. You know, both these teams, they're both actually 2-0, right? So, I mean, one of these teams are leaving with their first loss. So, you know, the stakes are high. You know, they're going to be meaty, and I want to see it.
And this is going to be something that's, it's kind of interesting because we've got MorningStars who are actually, they're in a team house right now, which, you know, I think would have to kind of change that dynamic a little bit for these teams going into it. I've never played in a team house before, but I've heard that, you know, it helps a lot for that kind of tight knit. We saw MorningStars Blue quite a bit in open division, right? And especially towards the end there, I think you and I might have actually casted and analyzed was it MorningStars and Augmented Authority that we did, or was that one point? Do you remember?
I believe that we did end up seeing a MorningStars Blue match, and we did end up seeing a lot of versatility coming out from their standout lineup. I think the one player in particular we want to be looking out for in between the Genie and the big one. I'm definitely interested to see how Line Pro in the back line is able to keep this team together.
Yeah, that's right. We're about to jump into the first match. Before we do, though, I want to tell you a little bit about Broadcast.gg. Broadcast.gg is an amazing resource to help you grow as a broadcaster, whether you're a caster, a host, an analyst, a producer, a guy who's just really good at emailing, whatever. There's a spot for you in the community. Follow Broadcast.gg on Twitter at broadcast.gg. Spell it out, chat. Broadcast.gg. Make sure to follow the channel right up there. And of course, join our Discord down below. We're heading into Ilios today. I'm really excited for this one. My player to watch, of course, is going to be Way Fast. He moves way fast. So anyways, I want to get you straight over to our casters here. We've got the Boop NATO coming at you today with Booposaurus and Ham Tornado. Good morning. Happy Friday, you two. Go ahead and take it away.
Good morning to you as well, KT. It's good to be here. Ham, you're not with me here today, but you're going to be with me here in spirit as you're going to be bringing the amazing color for this hype match between MorningStars Blue and We Have Org. And we are already in the team lobbies, Ham. What are we looking at?
Yeah, Boop, I am feeling it. We are miles apart, but only in body, because as you're right, as you said, this is going to be a very hype matchup between MorningStars Blue and We Have Org Blue. MorningStars on the blue side, fittingly, as they roll out here. No Pharah taken to the air. Instead, is going to be a Junkrat escorted by the Brigitte, Reinhardt, Zarya. So an interesting take on kind of a very common version of the previous Slambulance, the as I like to call it, the evolved Wham Bam Thank You Mambulance. But we actually saw Big One right there using those concussive mines to get back into spawn as quickly as possible. They probably saw Danit on the side of We Have Org taken to the air with this Pharah, one of the hard counters for Junkrat in the game, deciding to swap back off onto the McCree as we see wholesale swaps actually across the board from MorningStars Blue. It's going to be Luft and Dragon Eddy on the Winston Diva dive tanks, the Big One swapping off onto the Tracer.
Yeah, and We Have Org, because of those swaps, do get the point first. So someone that we definitely are going to be seeing as they're trying to attack the point on MorningStars Blue is Line Pro on that Brigitte. Pretty well known for it. MorningStar is one of the earlier teams to adopt Brigitte, and this is hardcore Brigitte, pre-nerf. So also Scatter Arrow Hanzo in play, not in this game though, as the kills do start to fly, and the Genie's going to get the first person kill onto Danid onto that Fair, and that's going to open the point up for MorningStars Blue, but not for long, as Swolz is going to go ahead and get down to that Tracer. One of Tracer's worst enemies right there is that Junkrat, and right now this war of attrition going on for We Have Org is actually going to be in their advantage advantage here for a second, but MorningStars Blue were able to flip the point before all of this did start happening. But DNCE is going to go ahead and coalesce, so this is a long fight attrition. It is so far, and the kills keep on coming. The big one is going to get a revenge kill on 12, already going to come right on back, and Janet on that well-known Doomfist is going to secure the point for We Have Org.
I saw him come out and I was like, Misto Fisto, bless us today with that big giant right hand. And I am so excited to see Danon on this hero. I mean, Doomfist, not just a hero that we don't see that often, but this level, this caliber of play from Danon is going to be incredible. Most likely 12s though wants to secure a few more percentage points with this tire, just searching, gonna find, oh no, actually doesn't get the D-Mech onto Dragon Eddie, but We Have Org still ticking up. They have control of this point. They're still going to play this a little bit more passively, but they'll have to watch out for this rally that'll certainly be coming out from Line Pro soon.
And that rally is going to come out indeed from Line Pro, so they're going to have extra health and HP, but Luck is going to have none of that because Dan is going to slam him right into the wall. Tolz is going to keep his hot streak going with another kill onto the support, so that's going to really be great for We Have Org. So that's going to be at least 10 to 20 extra percentage points so far on the point. No that's available for each team, so Way Fast is going to clean things up, and We Have Org another clean take, or another clean hold for the point.
Yeah, now that We Have Org have actually secured point presence here, they are in one and done fight territory. MorningStars Blue, they're down to their last chance to flip this point. To do so, they do have both tank ultimates up online, but they're going to actually swap onto the Pharah for this attempt at a different angle of engagement, taking to the skies here, but Najini getting chunked down already, forced to back off a little bit. So this is dangerous territory for MorningStars Blue. They need to make something happen here, but the Mercy is taken low. One more direct with finisher.
And that is not what's going to happen. As Joki's Valkyrie is popped right now, keeping the rest of We Have Org alive. Najini is trying to get that damage onto the rest of the team, butter him up for the rest of the DPS to take them down, but to no avail, as We Have Org is going to take advantage of this fight, as Dan is going to continue on his world of name as a Doomfist, and the Rip Tire is going to make this a lot easier to hold for We Have Org, and as of right now is just getting the rest of MorningStars Blue to get off the point and into the grave, as We Have Org is going to take the first point, 134 here on Ilios.
It was an extremely scrappy, brawly, dirty fight early on. We saw that We Have Org was actually able to cap that objective just, for free due to hero swaps, but then MorningStars also flipped the point, and so, a very back and forth. But once We Have Org had control, it looked like they were, utterly uncontested. MorningStars had no idea how to actually break into the point, and the Doomfist is definitely a huge factor there in that last map. But moving on into Ruins now, Boop, this is an entirely different map, favoring entirely different heroes, as we see already on the side of MorningStars. Big one going on to the Widowmaker. This is a classic long sightline map for snipers, but we don't actually see either the Hanzo or the Widow from the side of We Have Org.
Yeah, they're going to go with that kind of like, some people are calling it the melee comp. Not a lot of range, but a lot of meat involved. And the big one is going to try his best on that Widowmaker to click those heads and get those headshots, open up the point, because a lot of the time, all you need is a one, as we do actually see some shifts happening on the side of MorningStars with Luff and Dragon Eddie switching off to Zarya and Reinhardt respectively. And so they're just going to go ahead and give the point to We Have Org. And what do you think about him? What is the reason for that?
Yeah, once again, MorningStars giving up the point for free in favor of swapping off onto, the heroes that they feel would be best to counter this this red team composition, and early trades going 1-for-1, so not bad, but this is something that We Have Org will take every day of the week, as they do have control of the point. But Brigida taking extremely low and will go down.
Yeah, and the Brigida goes down, and that's going to open up the point for MorningStars as the Sea of Blue is going to go in the kill feed. So pretty simple fight there. MorningStars wins it, Ham. So they're going to get on the board for the first time here on Ruins.
Yeah, really interesting. The mind games are real. As the desk said before we got in here, both of these teams are actually 2-0 undefeated, and they do not want to be the first one to drop a map to their opponents. And the rally's going to come in, but how much is that going to do?
Shatter for on the ground. A fatty shatty, as you would like to say. That's going to keep MorningStars in the advantage right now. But Wayfast is going to make things interesting, but maybe just a little too late, especially since the big one does have Tire available right now. So if anything, that's going to be some extra percentage points for MorningStars. And they are going to go ahead and reset and go back to the point thanks to that fatty shatty from Bluff.
Fatty, Shaddy, the flanking Reinhardt strats are real, man. But as you said, Boop, they still have that tire in reserve, and this is just really good ultimate rotation coming out from the blue team. The red Shatter gonna get utterly blocked, but the Graviton Surge is there from Dragon Eddie. Only catches Minna, but that's all you're going to need to continue to hold on to this point as the wave of blue continues to crash over this point.
Yeah, and the wave of blue is going to continue to gain that progress here on Ruins as Twirls and Cash are going to throw themselves off the point in a respectable manner as to not give up any ultimate charge Ham. So it's looking like MorningStars has the advantage so far. What is something that we have Org needs to do to get back here on the point?
Barrage is going to be huge, but you need that setup. The Pharah is so vulnerable in the air. I mean, we have Orc actually has a massive ultimate advantage right now, 4 to their name, and just that one sound barrier from Najini to try and keep MorningStars Blue up through this. However, there is still some residual shielding, so Dance, as you see, that Zenyatta going to be pretty protected. Line Pro, the tanks as well, hanging on to some of that. So this is a do or die, but no, Dance is
Line
down.
Pro. Yeah, Line Pro is going to get the first kill, but Wayfest is going to respond with the Barrage and not live through it as DNC is going to get the kill instead, but Jockey is going to get the clutch res onto Wayfast. They're going to need that damage if they're going to want to flip this point, because this is it for them. If they lose this fight, they lose this match, and they're going to the third round. But let's see if that's going to happen first as the Sea of Blue continues to fill the kill feed on MorningStars. But no! Another color appears, and that is Swolls, and Dana going to appear right away. Dana switched to Doomfest, already showing its effect. He's going to uppercut Luck into the heavens where he belongs and get one last kill on Line Pro. Helped with that fist, helped with the point takeover, but if they lose one more fight, they will go to round 3.
Yeah, and it's going to be a difficult fight to win for We Have Org. Looking at the ults coming in from from MorningStars Blue, we have both of those tank ults, the Grav and the Earthshatter, as well as Transcendence. So massive amounts of CC as well as sustain for their own team. Wayfast already in the back, just trying to pressure down this McCree, big one. Swap over.
Oh my God! The Earthshatter is canceled because of Dana. He's actually going to go down because of that. I haven't seen that one in a very, very long time, and right now, because of the numbers, it looks like MorningStars is going to have the advantage here going into this fight. One win away from round 3, but right now Joffrey's going to get the clutch res. Left is going to get the kill onto Joffrey, so no mercy available for We Have Org, and that's going to spell doom for their side as the rest of MorningStars is going to take advantage of the lack of support and healing and take over the point. We are going to enter overtime. Last Meteor Strike going to come down. Let's see how good Danon is at this Doomfist. You know, he can be a god sometimes, but not right now as overtime continues to tick away 99%. And this is just, you know, a time battle right now as MorningStars has a distinct advantage here to take over the map, and the overtime wake will fall, and we are going to round 3 now.
Not bad at all. You said, Danon, how good of a Doomfist can you be? The gods weren't smiling on him because Dance was fragging out. We've seen this Zenyatta in the past getting all of those finishing blows, and it can't be understated how important it is to have somebody on your team, a player who's able to get in those finishing blows, get those kills, you know, convert the damage into some kind of a measurable progress on the point. And Dance has been a huge boon for MorningStars Blue so far. But check out this lineup, Boop. We have Org. They're not going to be fooling around. They have Danon on the Doomfist right in spawn. Perhaps it will be sticking with this. Well, definitely a place where you can make use of those environmental kills, and it's going to come in huge, I feel. As on the other side, we also have the Orisa Roadhog Pharah. So it's going to be Boops galore, potentially.
I don't call myself Booposaurus without wanting the Boops galore, specifically here on Well. So I'm really going to be looking forward to those environmental kills. And those environmental kills actually provide a lot of ultimate advantage. And what is also going to provide an advantage for their team is Wayfast headshot on Line Pro on that Mercy, as the kills do, you know, even up on each side, but not having that Mercy is going to be really hard for We Have Org. But actually, it was MorningStars Blue, sorry guys. But now the point is going to open up, and We Have Org's going to have a little bit of an advantage here as they're so close to capping the point. But, you know, the kills are going each way. Line Pro's going to get a res on the left, and it's going to provide another big body for the point to continue contesting here on this first round of Well. And so Danon is trying his best. He is going to get a great kill on the big one with Tracer. That's going to be huge for We Have Org. This is their chance to grab the point. Wayfast is going to go ahead and use those wall hacks. And Danon, you don't need walls, you just need a fist into DNC's face. but that doesn't seem to be enough. We have Org is not just a one-man team. The rest of the team needs to follow that up, and MorningStars Blue is doing that themselves. And finally, they are going to be coming in with numbers. Danon, once again, making things interesting, getting that kill on Luft, and no one has taken the point so far.
Oh my goodness, this is incredible. It feels like the point unlocked 7 years ago. Danon going into the back, trying to find the Mercy with that Meteor Strike, but he himself going to eat a scrap gun to the face. Big Eddie takes him down, and that is absolutely the main threat from We Have Org, now gone from the map. Najini can fly a little bit freer. Actually, really, I mean, it's surprising that that guy can fly so high with the balls like that, going 1v1 toe-to-toe with way fast Widow, just trying to knock him off of his perch from the lighthouse. Worked out quite well. So MorningStars Blue, after a very long extended fight, will capture the point. The good news is the fight went on so long, they will have at least a few ultimates to their name to try and hold on to this point.
Yeah, and Danon did use his Meteor Strike during that first fight, so he's going to be a little bit far away. It's going to miss the first throwing Falcon Punch there into the wall, but it doesn't matter as he is more mobile than one would expect. Danon gonna get the Battle Bongo out of the way as well, but MorningStars is gonna take away Midna and that tank, and once again we have another back and forth fight. Danon, waited until the fortified was, and is he gonna get the environmental kill? Yes, he is. Luft is gonna go inside the well. Danon's gonna go into the sky, and is he gonna get line pro? No, the Mercy is going to survive. 52% on the board right now. Another great uppercut into headshot with that left-fisted shotgun. Danon, the gods didn't smile on you before, but they seem like they're smiling on you now.
Oh, certainly. This guy is so incredibly clutch with those combos. You see, not only is he able to go 1v1 with Big One's Tracer, make her uncomfortable in those flanking backlines, but also just make life so difficult for Luft on that Orisa and Dragon Eddie with the Roadhog. No mobility or really any way to get away from the Doomfist once he knocks them from the shielding. So we do see the swap onto the dive tanks now for MorningStars Blue. A little bit more mobility, so you're not just eating fists to the face from Danon. I mean, this Doomfist has been a revelation. You see, not just able to finish those kills, but the huge amount of survivability has been a boon for We Have Org.
Yeah, it's been a veritable buffet of fists, but right now the fists are going to take a little bit of a break to rest up. You don't want that carpal tunnel to happen, as the big one is going to get that first kill and open up the point. We have Org, though, great sound barrier onto every single person on the team that remained, and that's going to prove to be the advantage here as the kills do come onto the side of We Have Org first here on the point. They're evening up the percentages so far. And a great shot by Wave Fast on a in mid-air Luft. Actually, easier to hit people as they're falling down. The trajectory is a lot easier. But we have Org thanks to Jossie sound barrier looking good.
Yeah, Jaffe as well, getting in those killing boops as well. So, you know, a little bit of poison from that Frogman. But I like this Doomfist Widowmaker that we see from We Have Org. It's certainly very unorthodox. Once again, we see MorningStars Blue swapping up their team composition to try and get something going against, you know, these very highly mobile, multi-one-shot hero threats. So it will be Genji for Najini now. Big one throughout that pulse. So I'm not going to get anything, but already dances down.
All I see from Danon's Doomfist is absolute control of the character. Knows exactly how much damage he does and exactly what he needs to do as he takes out that Zenyatta. And a great Primal Rage saving him from absolute destruction there. Luft is going to continue his life so far on the point. Is Danon going to be able to finish this kill off on DMC? And yes, he is not going to be able to get the Valkyrie Mercy, but Danon's going to continue his Fist of Destruction on Najini. So no Genji for this fight. That's going to really hurt, especially with that damage input. And right now we have Org definitely in the advantage, even though Luft is going to come back with a couple kills. This Doomfist has struck fear in their hearts. Tight buttholes indeed for the rest of MorningStars. We have Org looking good so far, 99% in overtime. Almost C9 the point thus far. Danon, you're going to have to secure this for the rest of the team as the desperation stall from MorningStars Blue is going to convince. The desperation is going to turn into annihilation right now as We Have Org's going to finish it up off the side of this amazing Doomfist and to take the first round. We Have Org's going to go up 1-0, man.
Dude, it's never not satisfying. Just that that
right?
wunching noise as the Doomfist, you know, just smashes people into the walls. Fitting that Danon takes away the play of the game because absolutely a monster for the side of We Have Org. I mean, it's not even just the massive fist. Look at this accuracy, man. I like when I play Doomfist, I somehow like, you know, I start on Ilios and I press, E and shift and all the things. I find my way into like Nepal for whatever reason. Yeah, it's very good nuanced control. Good target prioritization.
Yeah, target prioritization. I want to kind of go back to my last point. There is just like that control on the character. He knows that character in and out, knows exactly how much shield is going to get provided. The target prioritization, as you said, was, off the charts, but he also had a team behind him. It did feel sometimes that he was kind of, putting them on their back, but, honestly, Joffrey with some really good sound barriers, some good support play as well from We Have Word.
Yeah, and Wayfast as well, really holding down the fort. The Widowmaker, a constant threat in the back line, right? So you have the Doomfist in the front, free ranging, right? Just going, looking, hunting for, anybody who's weak, hungry to get sent back to respawn. You look a little tired, son. Maybe put up your legs, rest a little bit. And while Wayfast was still a threat, you saw him opening up maps actually with a great crispy shot onto the Mercy. Lion Pro, that feels bad, but yeah, so it was really a case of a no-win situation for for MorningStars. They either had to, try and focus down Danit, who has so much survivability as well as mobility, or, dive the backline with Wayfast. But then you come upon, Wayfast's own peeling tanks who are around him, his healers who are trying to pocket him. And so, a very difficult ask for MorningStars.
Yeah, and what I like about that composition, it's kind of like when, the Dragon Strikes Diva Bomb self-destruct, combo, where it's just panic makes all of these other characters peek out and give the sight lines to your snipers. And it's super fun to see. I always love Doomfist. We always want to see him more in play. But now that we've gotten to see MorningStars, they are in a team house together. So they all get to talk to each other right now in person. And that's definitely going to give them, a little bit of a mental advantage coming in here to that second round. But if you were their coach right now talking to them going into this next map, what are you saying?
Let's channel some Coach Volamel over here. All right, guys, we're going into this round. We're down 1, but no worries. It's okay. We know we play our game. We play our game really well. Just focus on what you're good at. Play what you like. It's all about the comfort picks. I'm pretty sure Volamel is like cringing down on me right now, but hey, I did my best. And I think, that is going to be the way to victory for MorningStars. They got through all the way, open division, really ramped up their performance as we got into playoffs. So they just need to continue on that trend, go back to, what those team compositions that you have paid dividends for you in the past, and just play your game, man.
Yeah, I like how your coach voice, by the way, is like a passable Donald Trump.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if maybe he's the coach. You never know. But just to continue talking about MorningStars is something that we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. Is they were one of the first teams to Line Pro was especially in the tier 2 scene, was one of the first people to adopt that Brigitte meta, and it's been really good for them. In the we didn't see Brigitte, and that's something that they lost. Is it because Line Pro was on Mercy? Is that something that they want to talk about? Do you want to see more Brigitte from him?
That's a good question. Now, we actually had the chance to, speak to some of these teams before the broadcast, and MorningStars, they not only really enjoy playing that Brigitte, but the Hanzo as well. And I think maybe some of the reluctance to bring out the Brigitte, we did see Line Pro on the Mercy, like you said, Boob. It is because of the weakness of Hanzo in this patch. So Brigitte is pre-nerf. So in particular, her rally gives 100 up to 150 shielding, which is always great. But the Hanzo, he doesn't have his lunge, so lack of mobility as well as no storm arrow is still the scatter arrow Hanzo patch. And so maybe MorningStars, we know that big one is a certified monster on Hanzo, but perhaps they're a little bit less comfortable, with it this patch. So they're going to be holding back the Hanzo at least for now. But we never know, as I think we're getting ready with our next map. Is going to be Blizzard World.
Yeah, and I'm one of the few people, I actually really like this map. There's something about it that, it's the charm I think it brings in. Seeing the frustration in the players' faces can be a little entertaining sometimes. As, we watch it in OWL, we watch it all the time, and this seems to be a very frustrating map for some people. And so MorningStars Blue looking to even it up right now, 1-1. And the way that this, round robin style is formulated here for trials, it's really important to get these map wins. It's the tiebreaker. It's what you need to do potentially to make it into Contenders proper, as they likes to say. But we are now getting into the game. Let's see which direction they're going to go ahead and take. If they're going to go down main, they're going to go through the restrooms or lost and found. It looks like they're just kind of peek at each other with this dive comp that we have Org is running.
Classic dive at 2. Genji Tracer, takes me back to the days of yesteryear. You see Dana takes the body shot early on. Big one is on the Widow on the defensive side. MorningStars also running Najini on that Junkrat. So both two heroes that are going to be very difficult to dive into. For now, though, we have Org just looking to see if they can capitalize on any mispositioning from MorningStars Blue. This is what the team composition they're running excels at: speed and quickness in time to kill.
Yeah, Danon going to be repping this Genji, and if it's anywhere close to his Doomfist, it's going to be very problematic for MorningStars Blue, as they are finally going to try to start contesting this point. They're going to go ahead and dive in. That Tez cannon is going to tickle many a body, but as of right now, Wayfast is going to get the first kill on the big one, so nothing to worry about there, actually. But Lion Pro is going to get the res. Oh, and a great deflect into headshot into a Dragon Blade. Danon, you are a monster. Give them a little bit of a break. But MorningStars Blue is going to go down here inevitably, unless some crazy things happen, thanks to that great series of events for Danon.
Oh, yeah, great series of events for Danon, but MorningStars, man, they are going to be shaking their heads. That was the Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events, the entire series for MorningStars, as we saw a really good rebuff of the initial dive onto the high ground, but then the spam from the Junkrat Najini was just not quite enough, and then the reflect kill from Danon onto the recently rezzed big one. And we mentioned the mental game before, Boop, but that's going to be a tilter. However, this is a very commonplace for teams
revenge
to set up, and that's going to be a great way to start things off.
Yeah, the big one starting off at point 2 right with the revenge kill on to Danon. And something that people were talking about beforehand, where MorningStars, they say, kind of takes a little bit of time to warm up. They tend to lose their first map if they lose a map. But let's see, as of right now, it looks like they are still a little bit cold. And looking at the ultimate advantage on We Have Org, that is absolutely terrifying to look into. Najini can cancel some of that out with a great tire, and both support elements are going to help, but the big one is going to help his team out with a good headshot on to Wayfast. We got a quick clip of that before the attack finally happened.
Yeah, third eye not going to be helping Wayfast see any better, as the Widow site finally does go down, or excuse me, the big one is about 50% to that Widow's site, and really deadly for any of these flankers, as we do actually see the hero swap forced out from We Have Org. Wayfast going on to his own purple French lady to try and duel out big one, rather than having the Genji Winston dive come through and try and close the distance, which can be a very risky proposition, especially against a Junkrat.
Yep, gonna go mono and mono with the big one. So this is definitely a duel that we want to watch as we move forward. And Najini's gonna watch his tire eat Midna's face up, and this is gonna be another reset for We Have Org. Actually, Joffy's gonna go ahead and use the res on the Midna and that Winston. They do have ults to use, and self-destructs from both teams are coming out, and it's actually gonna get a kill on Najini. And finally, We Have Org have an opportunity to move on to this payload. Luck is gonna take down the support, but Midna's gonna get the revenge kill as well. Wolf is gonna get Max. Let's see if this Baby Diva is going to be able to get back in, and Max is actually pushing out some damage right now. Might get the revenge D-Mech on to Eddie, but that's not going to be it, as Luck brings his team back. We have Org had an opening, but MorningStars Blue closed it out.
Oh, that was so incredibly close, though. We have Org playing an extremely disciplined and patient game. Luft, though, he himself overstaying his welcome. Danon yanks out the welcome mat right from underneath those Gorilla's legs. And so now MorningStars, they're going to have to try and hold without their main tank. A dicey proposition here. They were looking so good, able to rebuff the dive in from We Have Org, but now they're going to be forced to give up space, as big one caught entirely away from the rest of his team does go down. Najini really close to a tire, and these have been really good ways to bite time off of the clock, but they haven't been definite fight winners so far.
Ooh, another really great pick off of DMCE's Zenyatta, and We Have Org takes that momentum and gets it all the way to point B. You know, they had a really good defense, MorningStars Blue, there for a second, but thanks to some overcommitment and some bad positioning, they actually have to give up the second point, and now they have 3 minutes and 55 seconds to make it to the end as Luft is going to take down Danit and that Genji, who is going to have a blade here coming up.
Yeah, Genji's gonna have a blade. It's still gonna be shaking his head though, because Dan's had literally like a 5 HP. A sneeze would have finished that Zen, but unfortunately the stars weren't shining quite on Dan this time around. But Tire out from Najini, going to be looking for Pater. It has to be a big one, as we have Org are already setting up this crossfire with way fast Widow. And it's a 2K.
Big one indeed, and is the 2K on the Danit and Cass. Both with their ultimates are going to delay this another 30 seconds. So right now, time is of the most importance here, as point 3 is notoriously hard to cap. So we have Org is looking to push this momentum that they had previously. They have to reset here because of Cass and Danit's death because of that Tire, but they definitely have the advantage coming in. Luft is going to have Primal Rage and be able to delay the departure of this. But Danit's going to go ahead and unsheath the blade onto Najini. Najini's actually going to get the res, and the rest of the team, MorningStars that is going to get the kills as well. Let's see if the self-destruct is going to get anything. It doesn't really matter, as MorningStars Blue wins the fight. And Dragon Eddie is actually going to get his counterpart full.
After the fact kill onto 12 still feels good though. Hey, I mean, MorningStars, despite looking a little bit shaky in certain parts of this map, especially that really fast point A give to We Have Org, they've been able to rebound really strongly with these defenses, oftentimes off the back of really good tank play from Luft. Primal Raging, making that space, putting pressure onto the squishy. So now he's gonna on the Reinhardt provide a little bit more static shielding here as Wayfest gets caught in a trap, does manage to escape with his life, but the same can't be said for Minda, who does go down, and this will likely be a reset for Rehab Org. But from both of these teams, we see the swap onto those shield tanks for that third corner push. We have the potential for the Graviton Surge. Earth Shatter could be huge, especially given that the teams will have to be forced to fight in these small grouped up spaces.
And a small group of space is what we are entering, and way fast at 73% already, and was rocking 100 energy just a second ago. And the ultimates are going to come out. The first one we hear is going to be DMC's Coalescence. Oh, and a triple Tire is going to take down We Have Org and stop them in their tracks, fam. What a big fat Tire from the big one.
A big one indeed, living up to his name over here. Absolutely destroyed We Have Org. We thought that, Minda got that beautiful shatter down, got a kill right off of that ultimate. Could have been the opening for We Have Org, but MorningStars Blue struck hard, and they struck back with decision. Flying Pro now gonna have that rally on hand. Hopefully we'll be popping it soon, as Danit is not holding back, not pulling the punches at all.
Now, and both rallies are actually going to go down. So is the Graviton Surge, and it's going to get almost everybody. The Transcendence is going to come in for We Have Org, so no damage is going to be done to them thus far. MorningStars is going to throw out their own Graviton Surge and get a lot more follow-up after that, and that follow-up is going to be some precision German engineering with Luck coming in with some hot kills, and the rest of MorningStars looks like they finally warmed up with that defense.
Indeed, Arena wiping the floor with We Have Org, who threw literally everything they had into that last fight. What a beautiful grab, patient grab from Dragon Eddie to wait out that Transcendence. And now the Tire, hey, is going to be sniped out by Cass, but MorningStars still have at least the sound barrier to fall back onto.
Yeah, if that Tire hit anybody, that would have been a game for We Have Org potentially. But MorningStars is going to go ahead and try to keep up this great defense. And the big one is going to continue with that kill on to Midnight. Wayback's still going to make things interesting here. But with that DMAC, there's not a lot of beef on the side of We Have Org, as Dan had switched to Junta shows that this is desperation time. It's time to just try to get onto the payload, as overtime is commencing. As the Reinhardts are going to go ahead and charge outside of each other's way. And Danido is going to come back in, and the desperation payload attempt is actually working so far, especially with that initial kill. However, Midna is not going to survive, and with that Graviton Surge, no one's going to be able to get on the point. MorningStars Blue, stalwart defense here on point 3.
Indeed, Booth, wow, finally pulling it out, holding We Have Org to just 2 points and 76 meters. An impressive game from MorningStars, indeed. I mean, so many times the counter ulting has been incredible so far in this series, and I am just salivating here, right? Anytime we can see Ryan play of this level, of this caliber, I am a very happy ham over here, both Midna and Luft. really making a huge difference for his team. I mean, MorningStars Blue in particular, I just want to, say it again, Luft was key, crucial to so many of their great defenses when we saw that everything on paper looks so good for We Have Org. Ultimate advantage, positioning advantage, but Luft, with those Primal Rages, able to make something happen for the defense. And now it's going to be on his shoulders, potentially, partially at least, to see if MorningStars Blue can even things up here in this series. Go 1-1, bring that payload to the golden box of victory.
And so MorningStars Blue has got to be feeling great about that. They should be absolutely hyped, but calm those nerves down. You got to focus. You got to continue playing clean going in here on your offense, because here on Blizzard World, anything can happen. Point A, I think, is one of the harder ones to take. Sometimes you can get the stop there. You can get the stop on point 2 as well at really any given point. So this is definitely not locked up for MorningStars, even though they were able to get the stop on point 3. And something that we also want to make sure that you guys are watching out for is definitely this DPS battle that we're seeing. So not on the Danid side, but way fast is, been a little bit understated, not as flashy maybe as Danid, but like you said, it was doing some work as well.
Absolutely. It's a little bit hard to be quite as flashy as the Misto Fisto. But Danid this time around going to be on the defensive far. This is a pick that we see occasionally here on Blizzard World, a little bit more common on the attacking side, actually, as we see MorningStars Blue roll out with the Brigitte, Reinhardt, Zarya, so no surprises there, but big one on the Mei. Now, MorningStars have shown themselves to be a team that are more than willing to give up time in order to get that perfect team composition, and they will likely have to reset as, oh man, 3 in a row in the blink of an eye. Cass throwing out those orbs, man. And that should be a reset for the blue side, and indeed it will be. But MorningStars, yeah, we see the swap. There's no way you're going to be running a Mei into Danid's Pharah.
No, absolutely not. As Pharah is one of Mei's biggest counters. I like the idea. I like the moxie that they're trying to show, but as of right now, it's not going to be what's best for them here on the offense. And you got to think about the fact that all that time on Mei is wasted ult charge potentially on somebody else. But as of right now, we are going to see Line Pro on that Brigitte. We talked about it earlier. Let's see how effective this is going to be, as Line Pro is, as of right now, because of those hero swaps, the furthest along on that ultimate. And Rally's just going to give everyone the extra HP, and the big one's going to give Twolz the death, as he's going to go down thanks to a great headshot. And the res, though, is going to go ahead and get used on Twolz. The big one's going to keep doing his stuff, clicking heads on Wayfest. That's a great counter snipe there. Another headshot onto Danid. So this is an opening for MorningStars to take the point right now, but Midna is going to go ahead and knock Line Pro off of the point and off of his life, as now the reset is going to go off. Twolz does have tire. It looks like MorningStars Blue is going to try one more time.
Yeah, that would be wise, or not. Diva overstaying her welcome a little bit too long this time around. Gets demeched there, and it's gonna force a very quick retreat from Luft, and the big one here. Oh man, from across the triple tap from Cass, and that's just such a great parting wave when you're the defense here. We have Org looking quite strong here on the defense as they were on the offense. They really seem to know how to play around this point A, and MorningStars Blue, they themselves looking a little bit confused, potentially frazzled. I mean, it is definitely worth noting that Big One is the only long distance damage that MorningStars are running. So if Line Pro wants to get any of that Inspire healing going on this Brigitte, he has to be within melee range, dropping the shield in order to do damage to heal his team. And so MorningStars Blue could be very vulnerable against the Widowmaker and especially Danid's Fury.
Yeah, and so MorningStars is going to go ahead and unleash the rally, even though they are down a member. And without that Mercy, no res available. So this is going to be a 5v6 for the time being. But Dragon Eddy actually going to even it up thus far. We have Org and Danid getting a little too aggressive and getting punished for it. And as of right now, they're so close to capping that point. MorningStars, are you going to be able to do it? Finally, the fight has moved off of the point, which is into the advantage of MorningStars Blue. Dragon Eddy with that ultimate is actually going to get the point cap during the fight. MorningStars Blue continuing their fight here on Blizzard World, man.
Yep, MorningStars, they will move now onto the streets phase. You already see here following Dragon Eddy taking up that high ground space. They don't want to allow Wayfast to set up. Oh, he's not going to get the chance to do so as he gets an all expenses trip paid back to respawn here. So MorningStars just getting a little bit of free push here, making usage of their positional advantage. making it costly for We Have Org to try and get onto this high ground. But there will be a tire out from Squalls.
Yeah, and the tire is going to cause fear in the hearts. That Revan getting closer and closer, and it's going to get into Ginny, and that's going to give We Have Org the number advantage. So that's going to, Luff is going to say, hey, you guys might have the numbers, but I have the courage. He's going to jump right in and dive into the team. Danon is looking for Widow, and he is going to grab her with a great meteor strike, and this is where Danon shines the best. Momentum-based character, going to get the kill and then get the rest of them. Self-destruct not getting anybody, but We Have Org putting up a defense, causing MorningStars to reset. Ooh, gonna get the kill. Death. Oh, not gonna get the kill on Zenyatta just yet. Gonna get the melee kill. Entertaining way for Zenyatta to die. Good survivability on his end, by the way. 56 HP, almost gets the Ginny, but it's gonna go down in the end. But brought a lot of attention towards that Doomfist, which helps We Have Org and that defense, and then it's gonna close it up for MorningStar's attack here at the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, We Have Org. Once again, Danon, I mean, he's just so obnoxious in that back. I mean, even if he's not hitting those combos, which he is, by the way, just providing so much distraction. We saw there, he was off in his own little word, taking up the time of both Stans and Nijini. And while in the meantime, We Have Org had a huge man advantage on the actual payload, winning that defensive fight. And now Cass gonna have that transcendence to continue to try and stall out this payload right here. MorningStars, they gotta get something done. It might be off the back of Luft's Primal Rage. We've seen him go huge in the past. It's time to put on those boxing gloves once again, my friend.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and throw some fisticuffs here in just a second. But Danon playing one of the best at fisticuffs. So he's gonna go ahead and slam Nijini right into the wall. That's actually pretty hard to do against the Tracer. And with this meteor strike and a minute left, this is starting to look really, really great for We Have Org, as MorningStars Blue is gonna be forced into one last attack here. Right now, Luff is gonna try to get his life bar total to be as low as possible. Not going to actually stagger them out. So MorningStars is going to get one more attack here to continue their run on Blizzard's work.
One more shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Big one going to swap off onto the McCree here. Nijini onto the Lucio. Luft on that Reinhardt, giving up that Primal Rage. Actually, as the MorningStars, they know that this is their one chance. They have to be able to win at least 2 fights in a row, most likely to bring this payload home. As Danon, who does get caught up, taken low, forced to use that meteor strike, but he will escape most likely.
Oh, this has potential to be big, but no, they were aware. They knew exactly what they were doing, as the Luft is going to go ahead and get the pin onto Danon and open up this attack for MorningStars Blue. So this is it for them. They have to get the point or they lose this map. And as of right now, they do have a small advantage, but they have to punish Danon, and because of that kill, they are at a 5v6, but he's going to be back in time and rain fists from above. And here he is, guys, uppercutting, slamming, and throwing those fists into the wall as Midna and Wayfest are going to get the first 2 kills of this point. So what started looking good for MorningStars is starting to look very, very bad indeed for MorningStars, as We Have Org is going to finish this up and take Blizzard World off the fist of Danon one more time. We Have Org going up 2-0 on MorningStars Blue. MorningStars thus far in Trials has not lost more than 2 maps in a series, so this is a new feeling for them. The big one with that triple Riptire kill, probably going to get the play of the game here. But Danon once again showing his stuff on Doomfist.
Yeah, a well-deserved triple K here, potentially. Or, hey, just some, good old concussion line usage. Not bad either. I thought for sure you were right there, Boop. But, hey, good Junkrat play. Definitely deserves the play of the game. But I still have to say MVP of this first half has to be Danon. The entire series was literally just constant rounds of where in the world is Danon San Diego? In the back? Is he behind you? To the left? To the right? Like in front of you? Punching your tanks into oblivion? It was constant mystery.
Get the Doomfist. Get the Doomfist.
Yeah, get the Doomfist. No, where's the Doomfist? Oh no, he's in the air. Yeah, it's just really excellent utilization of the positioning and and just cooldowns of Danon. We see that, he's constantly able to stay alive, is like managing blinks on a Tracer, right? Just when you think you might have caught him, he has he is just uppercuts you into next Tuesday, and then you're forced to, burn some of your own cooldowns to try and chase him, and then he's off into the wind, ducked back behind his tanks, got pocketed, something like that. So he's a huge boon for the side of We Have Org, and so far, MorningStars, they haven't been able to come up with a solution.
Yeah, the Doomfist is really getting into their heads, it looks like. And going down to 2-0 here on, a 4-map pool, they have to pull the reverse sweep in order to take this round and the win from We Have Org. And so I'm really interested to see if KT and Panda think that they can do it. So we're going to go ahead and throw it back to the desk for some analysis and some predictions.
Thanks so much, guys. Panda, here's what we got to do here. We need to provide a little history lesson so that people can understand this match a little bit more. So let's bust out our Open Division history books. There it is, right off there. All done. I actually have a book. It's Open Division history. Wow. Not Sherlock Holmes, that's for sure. So MorningStars Blue have played Augmented Authority, who are now We Have Org, twice before. And MorningStars Blue have won both times in 5 maps. Both of those times that they had played, they Augmented Authority, now We Have Org, had lost the first round, right? So just to kind of give you an idea here, how important is it that they got that first map for the first time here?
I think it's very important. I mean, all things considering, getting any map victories when you have lost to MorningStars in the past is very important. Getting ahead in the mental game it really speaks for itself, Tripod. I mean, like, to feel good going into this next match, to know that the enemy team has to pull out a reverse sweep just to get a win in this series, you got to be feeling good about that. I mean, if Dan itself wasn't enough confidence going into the series alone, I think that the 2-0 going into this third map definitely is.
I mean, we see this in Overwatch all the time where there's a pattern when teams play each other a lot of times, whether it's Overwatch League, Contenders, Open Division. We see it a lot when teams play each other multiple times. Very similar results end up happening. And in this case, we're just talking about needing a 1-map difference. We Have Org just needs to flip 1 map that they used to or had lost in the patch into their favor, or in the past into their favor. And now we're dealing with, a series that is very winnable. Not only winnable, but they're going into halftime up 2-0, which obviously is very important. We all love the reverse sweep, though, and I would love to see that happening. Now, something that was interesting is this single tank composition, right? We saw the Winston, the Doomfist, no Brigitte. Why do you run this composition, and how does it work? Obviously it worked for them there, so there's not a whole lot to argue and say it's a bad composition, but it is an interesting one, and one that maybe we don't see a lot, especially since most Overwatch that we're watching right now is on a different patch.
Right. And to go back to your previous point as well, with MorningStars taking the previous victories was on a previous patch with Storm Hanzo, the Hanzo that we know and love right now. The Hanzo, again, that we see in this current series does have scatter arrows. So you're not really seeing much of that. And I think Dan is very happy about that because we see his Doomfist coming out to play. And, from an analytical standpoint, KTP, solo tank shouldn't work like that. We saw right at the very end, Brigitte, McCree, they had everything in the backline to snuff out the Doomfist, and they were almost looking very good in doing so. I mean, hell, even if you have to pull out a Roadhog just to keep that backline alive, you got to do what you got to do. Danit is a very known Doomfist in this EU region, and you got to be ready to shut him down, and that's exactly why the solo tank was working. Let the dive come in, perfectly fine, but it was really Doomfist in the transcending of the backline farther from the Winston that was just running amok. He could be everywhere at every single moment of time. And even if he creates that minor bit of shielding for himself to get to the next round of cooldowns into the next adversary, which was either a Widowmaker or a Zenyatta, it's very easy to shut it down. And it's very easy to follow up on that. As Winston, we know his Tesla cannon doesn't do all the damage in the world, but when targets are very low and they only have 200 base HP, they get shut down very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going into map 3, and it's going to be Hanamura. If MorningStars Blue want to switch or flip this around and hopefully get this reverse sweep started, what do they need to change? What adjustments need to be made?
I To touch up on my previous point as well, it seems that they really enjoy we have org, they really enjoy playing around Dan's Doomfist, and I think that's what you need to be ready to switch it up. We know MorningStars Blue are the team that don't play no games. They go back to the spawn room, besides on that first push of Blizzard World, and they swap accordingly. They like to play that macro game. They like to get inside your head a little bit, right? And in doing so, you need to be going back to even when Doomfist was first released, and us on the competitive ladder, we were all scratching our heads on how to deal with it. Even pulling out that Roadhog, as unorthodox as it really is, to shut down the Doomfist when he doesn't have any cooldowns, it's the same as back in the day when there was a Tracer just hanging out back there. The blinks will run out, and that's when you need to lock down the damage as well. Dance as well needs to come up huge, and this is exactly where this Roadhog will come in handy. I know Dance is a very formidable Zenyatta, can land those orbs to face, and you need to let that Zenyatta player go huge in doing so to turn the tides of the fight. I think pulling out that Roadhog KTP in that backline with the McCree and the Brigitte just to shut down Doomfist, Dan's Doomfist, is your entry into that door of winning a team fight.
So I think you kind of answered this, but I want to make sure as we go into it. So is Dance your player to watch here in the second half to kind of get an idea of the player who can have the most impact on the outcome of the second half, I guess I would say.
I expect Dance to be very vocal in his communication in this current halftime as well to his team. And yes, to your point as well, KTP is my player to watch out for. Again, big transcendences can shut down a lot of big team fights, and coming into Hanamura, we know that it's a little bit more of a shieldy composition coming out as well. But if they end up going with the Space Jam combination and they pull out Azari with the Doomfist, that transcendence is going to be even more prevalent. I want to see more backline defense to come out, so that way Dance can go huge.
All right. Well, I think the teams are getting ready here. We've got a couple more minutes. I mean, at the end of the day, do you think that there's a chance? Do you believe in MorningStars Blue to come back and complete the reverse sweep here? Or do you think it's going to be we have Org coming out on top?
I absolutely think that MorningStars can pull it out. They have a deep hero pool. They have an understanding of the meta. They can play a multitude of compositions. I want to see a Game 5 coming out from them.
All right. Well, we are just about ready to go here. We're in Hanamura. I think the Boop NATO has gotten a drink of water, gotten a chance to stretch. So we're going to go ahead, hand it back to you guys. Go ahead and take it away. Ham Tornado and Booposaurus.
Thank you, KT, for such a great halftime show. Something I want all the viewers to know about Ham and I is we are notorious for casting some pretty hype Hanamura games. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but you know, there was one time where there were 4 Earth Shatters in a fight, so maybe that's what we'll see today. It would
3
be
Valkyries.
Awesome. 3 Valkyries, 4 Coalescences. It was pretty nuts and some pretty crazy strategies. Putting Bastion on the little divot on the wall, so the attacking team doesn't see him when they come
surprise flanking Bastion. Yeah.
But something that I want to be surprised by is just some aggression coming from MorningStars, Ham.
Yes, MorningStars. I mean, Line Pro is well known as an extremely aggressive Brigitte. We've seen him pull that out throughout Open Division. Now, though, with Apache, he's playing a little bit more of that defensive style, and actually has been playing a lot of Mercy as well, as he will be repping on the defense first with MorningStars Blue here. A little bit of a traditional dive defense. You have that Junkrat as well as big one on the Widowmaker. So this is not going to be a whole lot of point presence. Luckily for the defense, though, we have Org. They themselves are going to be running with a dive. We have Danid on that Pharah. Gonna have to watch out for a big one, though. Those long sight lines going to be looking to ventilate that bird.
Ventilate in the spawn instead, because Danid is going to go ahead and switch to Genji, that debate so common in the casting world. And something I do want to point out is Tang has been swapped in to we have Org, another augmented authority former player coming in here for Overwatch trials for We Have Org. And right now the teams are just looking at each other, saying hello, making eye contact, asserting their dominance. And right now we finally do have our first engage as Wayfast is going to try to tickle that monkey, but the big one's going to tickle it a little bit better as Minda is going to go down at first, and Atang's going to have to use the res on the big monkey. And though showing that he's not just the one trick on that, Goofus showed some pretty good Genji earlier as well, as Pulse is going to get the most important kill, which is that line pro Mercy, and the point is opened up. We Have Org has the advantage after this deep-match, the point will be there.
Yeah, once again, a surgical strike from We Have Org. Oftentimes it looks like they're just poking, looking for a bit of damage, spamming up to Blade potentially, but when they do see the opening, they pounce 100%. Everybody goes in, even with the couple of early losses, Minda going down so early on We Have Org. I can just hear the comms. It was winnable, winnable, winnable. You had that Genji on the high ground, forced the Widowmaker off of the ledge, forced to use the grapple, and then you had the supports in your sights, and now they're going to continue to try to use this snowball to claim at least one tick here on point B.
Yeah, when you see a Valkyrie that early, that's when that team We Have Org is going to go ahead and try to attack the point, but no Valkyrie going to be available for the second push because We Have Org has been thwarted by MorningStars Blue for this first, forced attack, and that's one of the scariest ones, right, Ham? The one coming off of A?
Yeah, definitely, especially given that MorningStars Blue swapped quite a few of their players onto different heroes. We now have Najini on the Brigitte, Line Pro on the Ana. So poor Grandma doesn't see a whole lot of playtime now, but Hanamura has kind of become her second home, as we see many teams prefer to run the Ana on point B. You can hang out in that nook very close to spawn, stay safe, and you have all of these lovely long sight lines. You can hit your teammates on the high ground as well as, support them on the point itself.
Yep, one of the few maps that provide the protection that Ana needs to be effective. The Transcendence is going to come out, but Wayfast is going to first pull out that Pulse Bomb and pull out the shield, Dan. And it's indeed the Transcendence is going to look at that Zenyatta just for a second, just scowl at him. Not going to get anything out of that Dragon Blade because that Transcendence is going to cancel out all of that damage. And right now we just have a war of trying to get ultimates back as a rally from the Ginny is going to come out and give the rest of his team some armor. Not Line Pro or Dance, by the way, just the DPS and a tank on the side of a Morningstar Blue, as the fight in classic 2CP fashion is going to continue, but not continue for long, as the big one is going to get the first couple kills that are going to be deciding that Morningstars is going to cause the reset and move We Have Org back to their base.
Danid pulled that blade, dove straight for Dance, who was absolutely ready to smash that Q. And like you said, Boop, he scared the trance right out of him, but didn't get too much more because MorningStars Blue, We Have Org, it looked like maybe they were going for an eco push, trying to draw a whole bunch of ultimates out of MorningStars Blue, which they did accomplish. However, their MorningStars Blue, they had more ready in their pantry. They're going to have that nano boost as well as a Diva self-destruct to try and continue to hold this, whereas We Have Org, they themselves have kind of squandered quite a few of their ults. You have swapped Danid now onto the 76, trying to make their way onto the high ground. This is classic Soldier 76 camping ground. He has his tent ready, his fireplace. He just wants to set up here. So We Have Org are fighting extremely hard, just as hard as MorningStars Blue, to try and prevent them from setting up, and it will be once again the Brigitte winning out that fight.
Yeah, and Jenny rocking the Brigitte, not Line Pro, the person we usually see playing that Brigitte, but it doesn't seem to matter as Najini is going to open it up for Morningstars and grab the point. So Ham, Danid on that 76 already has attack visor after the first initial switch. Will we see the shooting gallery?
I've a potentially big one, though, wants to keep it from happening, setting up this crossfire now, but he has to hit those shots with that Pulse Bomb and the Diva self-destruct taking down too.
Yeah, and Wayfast is also going to get the big one, so this is opening up the point for We Have Org. This is their best chance, but Dragon Eddy and that extra beefy Diva, thanks to that Grandma Juice, is going to be a lot harder to take down. Wayfast's not going to be able to one-clip that Zenyatta, but Koss is going to get Dragon Eddy as he is DMX. The big one is going to get 2 more kills, and the most important one is that they're both on the supports. So this is opening it up for Morningstars to get that defense. We Have Org going to go ahead and reset, thanks to the big one and getting the 2 supports.
Constantly so close as We Have Org. I mean, that fight was devolving for so long on the point that they didn't actually even take a single tick. So a monster defense from MorningStars Blue, and I'm really unfortunate that Wayfast just wasn't quite able to make up for the speed. That big one was just plinking heads, taking down the supports from the attacking side. So now Minda gonna swap onto that Reinhardt for a little bit of static shielding for his own Widowmaker as Wayfast swaps onto that Sniper. Wholesale swaps from We Have Org. They have a membership at Costco and they are making good use of it. Danon going to be on his own Brigitte, so this could be the answer for that close range brawling. But MorningStars Blue check out their own swaps. Najini going onto that Junkrat, potentially anticipating the swap to the heavy tank line from We Have Org.
Yeah, We Have Org just going to go and try to push their way into the point. Danon playing, I believe, his third character of the map so far, decided that 76, well, good on this map notoriously, might not be good for the meta right now. And so Danon has switched over to that Brigitte. I love it when the DPS players play Brigitte. You see extra aggro, they go in, they know how to do that damage. So we're definitely going to see who he's going to shield bash and open up the point for the rest of We Have Org, as Wayfax is going to finish off the kill thanks to that Widow's Kiss on the big one. So this is it. He has the shooting gallery up as top right now. And it's going to get the extra armor. Ooh, and a great headshot onto Line Pro. Is he going to get the tire? The tire's low, and yes, Wayfast is going to continue his dominance onto the point. Luff doing his job, doing what he needs to do, taking Wayfast down off of the high ground and getting rid of that Widowmaker, but to no avail as Minda is going to continue the dominance as We Have Org on it to the point. We're definitely going to see at least one tick here. This is 2 CT, so anything can happen. The big one is the only one left that could potentially contest the point thus far, and that's exactly what we're going to see right now as the big one is going to go down at 100% to the point. 1 minute and 1 second left on the clock for We Have Org. You know, moderate time bake, but really they've pushed their way in there thanks to those hero swaps, Sam.
Yeah, hey, I mean, don't be too stubborn, right? You try it again, and then finally, you know, maybe it's just time to swap onto some tanks. I mean, that's definitely what I tell my teammates in my own ranked games, except we lose. Whereas We Have Org, they were able to, you know, make it work. They just got onto the point, forced MorningStars Blue to meet them on their own terms, try and get through some of this shielding sun, and it just wasn't quite working out. Big One putting in a lot of work on that Widowmaker, but unfortunately the sustain just wasn't quite there to win out that defense.
Yeah, and Wayfast opening up that point, getting some clutch kills, opening it up big. Like you said, Big One was playing a very good Widow, but you can't play Widow when you're dead, and that's exactly what Wayfast did to open up that point. So, you know, wholesale swaps with some good accuracy, clicking heads, that's what Overwatch is, right? They wouldn't put hero swapping in the game if it's not something they wanted you to do. So going into this attack, MorningStars know that they, you know, We Have Org attacked and got point A immediately, and then, you know, struggled getting point B, but eventually they got it with 1 minute and 1 second left on the time bake. MorningStars, how do you think they're feeling right now?
MorningStars, they're definitely going to be wondering whether or not to put Line Pro on the Brigitte, to run a Brigitte at all. And right now, at least, it looks like they're going to be going for the speed instead. This would be indeed a very interesting 3-3. Oftentimes, when we do see the 3-3 triple tank, triple support, it's with a Brigitte in tow, but this time around, it may be the Lucio, Mercy, Moira. So you do have the potential for the res, along with that burst from the Moira and the speed from Najini. However, damage may be far and few between for this MorningStars lineup, so it's going to be extremely dependent upon all of the tanks to coordinate to try and focus down any single member of We Have Org. As we have seen, time to kill has been an issue for both of these teams so far in this series.
Yeah, and We Have Org rocking a singular tank for right now versus MorningStars 3. So tons of DPS on the side of We Have Org, but let's see if they're going to be able to, you know, cut through all of that HP. You know, they're going to get their ultimate fast, so let's see if they're going to be able to get it fast enough, as Wayfast is going to be rocking the Stracer, and Linepro's going to be rocking Cass's life away from him, getting, you know, the advantage right now for MorningStars, the attacking team. Wayfast, and for the rest of We Have Org, part of this is getting your ultimates off of those VP bodies. You have to do the damage. That's what you picked to show, but they're just showing that they can die right now, as Foles is going to get the first kill for We Have Org so far on this point. Wayfast is going to be tickling those tanks, and as of right now, I'm questioning We Have Org's comp cam.
Oh, no, they'll be questioning it themselves, Boop, all the way to point B. And MorningStars, they are looking strong to try and snowball this on. No, it looks like there may be some... Nope, it looks like there might have been some hero swaps, but no, it was just a cursory look behind them, admiring, you know, the beautiful blue sky, because yeah, it was MorningStars Blue. They literally just sat on the point, and We Have Org had no ability to more than toe tap and dance on that objective to try and keep it in contestation while they farmed up to these ultimates. And now MorningStars Blue going to be plowing their way on. Big One charged with the power of 1,000 suns, burning at 100 energy, and that'll be Midna down.
Yeah, and Dance's Coalescence is going to make things really hard for We Have Org to defend this point. The Nano Genji without the blade is a last resort right now. He needs to grab it here soon, and he is unsheathing. Is he going to unsheath the kills right now? He is, as Dan is going to get 2 kills onto MorningStars and going to finish it off with a third onto Najini. And they took a precarious, even perilous moment and defended it thanks to Tong and that Grandma Juice onto Danidus. He's going to switch, thank goodness, to that Doom Fist.
Yeah, a precipitous fall nearly off the pit for We Have Org's defense over there to continue the alliteration. But yeah, the damage finally winning out against the MorningStars blue composition, but you can't rely on ultimates every single time. As we see MorningStars blue, they're just going to take the same route through mid once again, and this time around We Have Org are running a little bit on empty. Pulse Bomb going to come through. No, a great bubble. Only going to be charging big one, Anger.
Well, actually, I believe it was the shield that blocked some of the damage, or it might have just been the nerf that blocked some of the damage there onto that Pulse Bomb. Earthshatter not really going to do much for Luft, but LinePro's going to get the first kill. Has had passes numbers thus far here on Hanamura. Dance with infinite coalescences for each round so far. Schwolzo going to get 2 kills, but this is going to open it up for MorningStars blue. Did We Have Org do have the respawns? They're going to try to come in as fast as possible. Are they going to come in on time? No. It looks like 5 minutes, 2 seconds on the time bank for MorningStars blue. They've got to be feeling great about that. We Have Org has a tough mountain to climb. They have to get something on point A to give themselves a chance here.
Coach Hammy T's advice, man. Coach Hammy T's advice. You just play what you're good at. You put LinePro on that Brigitte. You got Luft on that Reinhardt Dragonetti with the Zarya. You just mosey onto the point, man. You got to fake it till you make it. Yeah, this point is ours. We got to invite to the point party. That's right. Yeah, no?
I wasn't invited. I'm not invited to parties.
Oh, no, it's okay. We'll work on that.
We'll just work on you. It's okay. We'll work on you, then you'll get those invites.
You just need to play Brigitte more. That's the key. Clearly, we just got to get the.
And definitely stop playing Hanzo.
Right.
That's something I need to learn.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the game and less about us, MorningStars. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that aggression. I wanted to see that in-your-face attitude. And the Italians on MorningStar definitely showed their stuff coming in here. 5 minutes, 2 seconds on the time bank is amazing for them, especially if they're going to be able to hold We Have Org here on point A.
Dude, it's more time than you get to try and take point A initially on that first round. And so MorningStar is going to be feeling really good. But this is the caveat. Once again, they're running with this tank lineup, which is great. However, if any single one of these members falls, particularly Dan's, LinePro, or Najini, might well be game over. And We Have Org, who have been a very damage-heavy team so far, but in comparison, may well just run over MorningStars blue because these tanks. Oh no!
Oh, this is amazing! I love it. I love it. Luft and Najini. There is enough time to make it back to the point, but they just wasted 20 seconds off of the clock. So all they have is this. You know, they scared the ever-loving bejesus out of We Have Org coming out of the restaurant. You don't see that every day, but when you have that advantage, LinePro getting a kill on the Danid. That's something you see every day. Not to miss the res. You want 30 seconds left. If you can spawn around 25, 30 seconds, you can usually make it back to the point here, especially on a 2 CP maps, but they need a pick. They need something to get on the point, because right now MorningStars is being the aggressor and standing pretty far forward. We Have Org. You don't have a lot of time left as Minna decides to not hit that jump and is going to go walk in through the main entrance. Diva and Winston are both, getting taken low right now. Cass on that Zenyatta doing what he can to try to get that Transcendence in time, but right now no ultimates available for everybody as overtime has started here on point A, and they need this point. They need to get at least one take and do something. We Have Org is doing exactly that as Danon and Fulls opens it up for We Have Org. That LinePro continuing that dominance on that Brigitte, but Danon continuing his dominance on DPS thus far. Is he going to be able to survive this coalescence? Yes, he is. It's going to be up to damage to get rid of this Moria onto the point, and these supports is all up to you. But no, Luft and Dance are going to take him down, and that is nothing to it for point A on We Have Org. One tick, 5 minutes, MorningStars. That's all you need to get a point for this series.
It was 1 minute. There's so much to break down over there. I mean, the intelligence from MorningStars to know that We Have Org have been playing a very patient and restrained game so far, looking for openings. They don't like to have their hand forced. So what did they do? They spawn camp them, get rid of Twalls' Diva right off the bat, set them on that tilt-a-whirl to begin the round. A really good defense. And then, of course, they can back off with Najini's speed boost, recollect themselves on the objective. And even though We Have Org with Danid on that far was putting in so much good damage, we saw that he actually was able to farm up to the barrage despite getting picked early on. He still had that ultimate on the ready, at the end of that fight. But unfortunately, We Have Org, they just didn't quite have enough time to really get anything going.
Yeah, I feel like Yakety Sax would be like a really good musical number to put on that first point. Yeah, especially coming out of the restaurant. Oh, and by the way, if you shoot the Murloc, it makes Murloc sounds. Did you know that?
We're learning. The more you know, folks.
Exactly. But anyway, coming back here, MorningStars Blue should be pretty aggressive here on their 3-tank attack. Line Pro is showing Hanzo right now. Don't know if that's what we're actually going to see, but you don't necessarily need 2 supports for 1 tick, and they are going to continue here. Line Pro maybe just for vision, and then going to switch. No, going to go. Oh, yep. Did go ahead and throw that Sonic Arrow, going to switch over to that Brigitte. And MorningStars, can take their time. They don't have to do this right away or right at the beginning. This can just be until they get their ult. MorningStars in a great, comfortable position. This would be an insane hold on We Have Org if they are able to do this. The ult is already taken low, almost dead so far, but is going to be able to take back some of that damage as the rest of We Have Org is going to go ahead and take out all of MorningStars Blue.
Wow, the surgical strike. Caca! Danid going in there, applying that scalpel of a blade. I mean, all the HP in the world not going to help you when your Genji is getting dash resets like that, like the mostest. So yeah, no, MorningStars Blue, even with the 5-minute time bank, like you said, Boop, they're just going to go ahead and swap onto the dive. They have Najini on his own, Pharah, big one on the Widowmaker, now going for that kind of all or nothing. All you need is 1 good headshot, right? Now, is going to be forced off the high ground by Midna, so not bad. But this is everything on the line for We Have Org. If they lose this, they will go, MorningStars Blue, if they lose this, they will go down 0-3 against We Have Org.
Yeah, they will lose the series, but we will play a 4th map. But WayFast is going to make things easier for We Have Org thus far. And what felt like an eternity with 5 minutes and 1 second has now gone all the way down to 3.5 minutes about. We Have Org is also ahead in ult economy. And so, We Have Org can feel a little comfortable here for the next couple minutes as they will have the advantage coming into these next fights. Twalls is going to go ahead and throw out that Riptire. And, any kill is going to take another 30 seconds off the clock. Multi-kills might even take more. But Tyre not able to find anybody. 74 HP left. Everyone on the high ground. Nothing to it. Great defense there from the Tyre on the side of MorningStars Blue. And this might give them an opportunity to try to attack and get on to the point. Oh, but the Dragon Blade is coming out, and so is the Grandma Juice. 2 kills, 1 on Line Pro. Going to be another one on this Diva, potentially. But no, they're actually not even going to be able to DMAC. But all you need is those 2 kills, Sam.
Yeah, We Have Org playing a really good, disciplined, ultimate game over here. You start out with the Tyre, didn't even pick up any kills. MorningStars Blue playing their version of Lava really well, that playground game. Can't touch the ground, but all they need to do, We Have Org, is bite time off the clock. As you said, Boop, they whittled MorningStars Blue down to now less than half of their starting time bank, so they're feeling really good, and they still have Cass's Transcendence, which is going to be key against anything that MorningStars Blue can bring in here, but Midna is down. There is no resurrection on the side of this defense.
Yeah, and that having no resurrection might end up being the death knell for We Have Org, because 3 kills on the side of MorningStar Blue is going to give them a huge advantage and an easy kill onto 12 thanks to Najini, and the Transcendence not coming in fast enough. Najini going to rock some more kills, potentially a 3rd, yes, and they're going to get that. Oh, it's going to contest, but it's definitely a desperation. It contests, even though this Primal Rage going to go ahead and throw the rockets to the face. Spread your wings, MorningStars, because you are on the board. We have a series, folks, 1-2 on the side of We Have Org, but let's see if the reverse sweep can happen, Ham. Do you think we're going to see it?
It very may well be, as the desk mentioned earlier, MorningStars do sometimes take a little while to, get warmed up. And so it's not out of the question that a reverse sweep is coming. You saw how strong they looked, despite getting, despite the ultimates that they were coming up against with that defense from We Have Org. They still, persevered, didn't lose their cool, right? Still played a very disciplined game. And that is the kind of foundational teamwork, mechanics, game knowledge, and understanding of what the win conditions are that will propel you through metas, right? Through all different types of opponents, different types of maps, right? And so I'm really bolstered in my heart seeing, MorningStars kind of bounce back with a win on Hanamura. It's a series, right? We may well see this going all the way.
Yeah, I hope we do, because the last series we had went all the way, and it was a barn burner, and it's looking like, I feel it. I feel the momentum on Morningstar's side. I could actually see the confidence get built throughout that map, and you're gonna feel pretty confident with 5 minutes and 1 second. But they didn't rush it. They didn't, they had the time, and like you said, they were going up against ultimates. But even then, even if they lost all those fights, they still probably would have had a minute or two to get the point. So going in, no need to get nervous. You did your job. You're still in the series. You're down by 1 map though, and you did lose on control. So something that we, through some of the research that we had, We Have Org needed to take at least control definitely, and 1 other map to give them a shot, and that's exactly what they did. So Morningstars might have the advantage going into the next map, but we don't know so far. We Have Org's been playing pretty well.
Both of these teams, really, I think it kind of comes down to who's going to be able to sustain in that mental game and who's done their homework. As we see here, when you like to run, those shield heavy compositions, there's the bash potential, the stun from the Brigitte, Line Pro's Brigitte on the side of Morningstars. Who else kind of has like some, stun combo potential, right? Doomfist. And we saw Danid working that hero perfectly the first 2 rounds. However, that was the previous half. We got, the halftime over. Teams were able to take a break, unload themselves and get some water in or whatever. And maybe that was, they just needed to shake off those early jitters because, as the research has shown, Line Pro in particular feels that Morningstars, their strongest asset is their confidence. And once they're able to get that ball rolling, like we've seen, it is going to have to be a monumental roadblock that We Have Org put up in order to stop them from, just bowling over their competition. The ego from Morningstars, it's self-propelling, right? You start, you believe it, you start seeing results, you believe it more, right? It's a positive feedback loop.
Well, the thing is this is science has proved it, right? The best way to gain confidence is to fake it, right? It's one of those fake it till you make it situations.
Cooley's looking glass self, man. Sociological concept. We're losing viewers so hard, but no, I'll just really quickly. You see yourself how you think other people see you. So just act confident. If other people think that you're confident, you'll believe it too. Exactly.
And and it's being a musician, it's being an athlete, it's being an educator or a caster, or being involved in esports or management. 85% of anything is typically that mental game, and everyone's worst enemy is themselves. And we see a lot in competitive esports where that mental game gets tiring. They look tired, they play tired, but coming into these long series, and especially a trial season that's over 3 weekends, you've got to keep that confidence and that mentality fresh, not just up, but it has to be fresh too, right, Han?
Exactly. No stale confidence over here. Okay, all right. It's all pre-expiration date. So
exactly. Yeah, and if you need to exchange it, go ahead and go to the store, get exchange that confidence. But you talked about floor made out of lava, that game earlier, and I just have to tell you a little anecdote about myself, and this should give the viewers a window
Strap
into
in,
my
kids.
soul. So when I was 4 years old, my class told me to play that game, and I was very gullible, still am very gullible. And so when my teacher was like, the floor is made of lava, I started crying and like trying to run away. And I thought the floor was actually turning to lava, and no one could tell me otherwise. And so it was a sad moment in my life. And I literally yelled things like, I don't want to die. And, in a classroom with a teacher with 16 kids, even though this was the 90s, it was pretty embarrassing for everybody involved. And so there are pictures I need to show you actually that apparently the teacher took on a disposable camera, which is insane that, they scared me. And then they're like, let's take a picture. But anyway, that is my floor is made out of lava story, everybody.
We've all learned something today here, Boop.
Thank you for your ears and thank you for your time. listening to our idiocy continue going on here. But one thing that is going to continue, it's going to be these games, and we are going to go to Junkertown. So another area where we can see some weird comps. One support on the attacking side is pretty common here, Ham. But looking at these teams right here on Junkertown, who do you give the advantage to, and do you like these comps?
That's a twofer, Boop. So do I like these comps? So it's going to be MorningStars Blue on the defense right off the bat, and this is very unusual. The jury's still out. I've definitely seen Reinhardt defenses work out really well. The only issue here is that you're putting your body on the line in order to get shielding for your team versus the static shield from an Orisa per se. However, if you are going to be coordinating with the big ones, Zarya and Line Pros Brigida, this could work out quite well. Ooh, intelligent Sonic Arrow from Wayfast, just going to scope out and find out the defense just hiding around that first hut corner on the left. So now not only Dan is going to know exactly where to shell down with this Pharah, but they're not going to be caught off guard once again. Twals this time around on the Bastion. He's still smart, and he's still stinging from that early gank on Hanamura.
Yeah, exactly. And I love these divas just going face to the Ferris in the air. It's like they're almost there and they never quite make it and then fall straight to the ground. But, you know, this president trying to set up on to the point, and as of right now, not very successful at it. But Wayfast successful at clicking heads, you know, seems to be a pretty streaky player, and starting off with the headshot is going to make, you know, him feel really good about himself and his Widow play thus far. And what's really interesting about MorningStars right now is that they're trapped in the room that they started on because of that great Sonic Arrow and that vision that was provided, and because of all of those things that happened at the beginning of the game, the vision, getting trapped in the room, the Pharah, and finally 12's getting set up, we have Org probably going to get this first point.
Yeah, bullets, rockets, bears, oh my. Running triple DPS here on the attack with we have Org. Twals now setting up this sneaky Bastion flank. I love this. Throw something unusual here, running solo tank, solo Winston tank, so no shielding whatsoever for Twals, but there's so many DPS from every single angle. Where do you look? Dragon Knight is going to look at Twals and then obliterate him, but the fight is still on for this point.
Yeah, Coalescence 4 Dance is available as well. Love seeing those healing orbs get thrown out. Sometimes I don't remember if that's a move in the game or not, but right now Wayfast is going to continue his streak and open up the point once again for the rest of We Have Org. Going to try to shoot through that shield, and one thing that I loved that Uber said, I forget who it was in Owl, might have actually been Hex, to shoot through the shields, because sometimes they toggle them down and you get that headshot. So, you know, it's something that you want to try to do. Just because the shield's up doesn't mean that you need to stop shooting. And as of right now, Wayfast getting some good body shots, not a lot of headshots, but Dragon Eddie going to get 2 kills in record speed, but Jovi's going to decide to res Danid instead of a 12s here, and I do agree with that decision, as Bastion's going to take a little while to get set up, and what we thought was a probably 0.1 has turned into 0.15 meters. It's pretty much just a penny and some change, and that Earthshatter is probably only going to hit the penny that was left on the ground, as no one falls because of it, as Wayfast is going to continue with his player streak. 5 players so far, and right now it's just a war of attrition. Spawns are going to be able to favor the offense, and finally, after 0.15 meters felt like 5,280 feet, we finally get the point. Did you like the change in numerical system, by the way?
Yeah, no, 20,000 leagues to the first checkpoint. Yeah, if we're going hard, we're going leagues, man, nautical miles. Yeah, but no, I mean, we saw, okay, the difficulty there, the reason that it stretched out so long was that there wasn't a whole lot of shield break to speak of on the side of We Have Org. However, they have so much long range damage, and there was none coming from the defense, so they could literally do nothing but just take the spam. They couldn't push out themselves, try and get the attackers away, as we saw that Wayfast was just camping there the whole time. Now it's going to be particle effects galore, though, on the payload. Midna, the first one down. Not looking so hot for the defense, but they have plenty of time. Over 3 minutes, so they're just going to back off for now.
Yeah, and three minutes is it's almost like an hour for point B. Sometimes sometimes we'll see teams get held here, but most of the time point B is over in the blink of an eye, and the big one is gonna blink and kill Cass himself. Fire in the hole, guys. We're gonna watch this Tire do some tire parkour as Junkrat squats, works on those glutes and works on that death on dance.
Tire's doing
that's
tire
gonna be
games, man.
exactly. That's going to be an opening for We Have Org here, but the Graviton Surge is going to come out, and that is going to be the doom of We Have Org there. Wayfast the only one coming in hot, though. Again, with those spawns, that actually might be huge for We Have Org, as Ajoki's going to get the res. 3 kills, 3 shots, Wayfast. You are a monster.
Dude, you let the Widow stay in the back and not just any kind. It's not Ham Tornado Widowmaker. It's way fast. You can't do that. The call is coming from inside the house or, at the back of your heads in this case. And it looks like, we have work. They just might sail through. Cass got that finishing kill onto Big One's Junkrat. And so now Big One gonna have to be the big one with this tire. It has to be a multi-kill. Otherwise, I don't see MorningStars holding this.
The call's from inside the house, way fast. You got the tire. That's gonna be huge for your team. And right now, 4.74 meters until point 2 is taken. 1 minute and 48 seconds. Just squats. Actually, no! The point blank tire off of Line Pro. That doesn't do damage to Junkrat, just to you, Line Pro. And the attacking team still has the advantage as Danid is rocking that Doomfist once again. And that's got to be scary. Lots of walls here to be working with. As of right now, it's been a little quiet as I say that. Going to get a kill on the Ginny. And they are going to get that second point. 2 minutes and 55 seconds. A pretty good stall for MorningStars.
A good stall from MorningStars, definitely true, especially given, how quickly it looked like We Have Org may have rolled them through first point, but Danid's gonna have that Meteor Strike. He's been doing so much good work on this Doomfist, and even though, sometimes he's not necessarily getting those solo kills, he's just sowing so much discord in the MorningStars blue backline. You're running Big One on this Widowmaker. You need some kind of stability for the Widow to feel comfortable enough to go for those shots, but there's a Doomfist. Suddenly, Doomfist salad in the back constantly, and that is just a very difficult factor for the defense to try and work around.
Ooh, Meteor Strike is going to go down, but not before the Earth Shatter does, and that's going to actually take him down to the ground, but way fast. Once again, we called him a little streaky, and the momentum is still on his side, getting 2 kills, pulling this back out for We Have Org, but we are now at that point where MorningStar spawns are going to be to their advantage, but it doesn't matter, because Minden's going to grab Line Pro's life, as well as Najini's Pulse, going to try to get that high ground. Whenever I try to do that as Junkrat, I miss everything, so I'm always really impressed by those conk jumps. But as of right now, he's going to maintain the high ground, 96% on that tire. Ham, this is becoming do or die for We Have Org. 1 minute 40 seconds might feel like a long time, but on Junkertown, especially here on the last point, it's not.
Bull's gonna have to come up huge with this tire. The grab does come out, but Midna saves himself with that Primal Rage. Dan goes down. He was so close to that Transcendence, a crucial sustaining ultimate, but no, Danid takes down the other big threat. Big One, the Widowmaker is out. Line Pro, no healing for this defense. Now, it doesn't matter how highly charged you are, Dragon Eddie, you are also going to be sent back to respawn, and We Have Org are likely going to be finishing this map out with more than a minute left. Danid now just looking to send anybody who wants to peek out back, and all the May eats the wrong side of a fist. There's just one Winston left between We Have Org and a victory, and that will be round 1 complete, all 3 points for the red side.
1 minute and 4 seconds left on the time bank, and that last fist to the face against the May has got to feel good. Anytime you're able to kill a May, I think in general, it just feels...
I just like the sound, you know what I mean? It's like so satisfying. I think it's like the Reinhardt thing. When you get the charge kill, part of why it feels so good is it's like crunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Underrated sound in the game is Zarya Bubbles getting damage. It's like an old sound. I love it. Take a look. You'll appreciate it. It's gonna be better than my Floors Made Out of Lava story, I promise. But now that we're looking at the two teams, 1 minute 4 seconds, that's actually pretty good here for Junkertown. I mean, just finishing feels great on this map. MorningStars is going to look at potentially rocking those 3 tanks once again. But way fast, the star of that first push, twice bailing his team out.
Yeah, way fast and Danid between the two of them. They picked the platter clean from We Have Org. And MorningStars, they play a very good defense, as we saw there. I mean, able to hold off We Have Org at point A for so incredibly long. They really had no right to, but it was off of some really good, shield and cooldown management from both Luft, Line Pro, and Dragon Eddie. But a good defense does not a map win make, and so MorningStars Blue going to have to try and, rally some of that defensive hunker and bunker into some aggressive, pushing power. We saw them do it on Hanamura when the win condition was clear, get the tank bodies onto the point. But now as we move on to a linear escort map, how do you see this working out? I don't know if Left's going to come out on the mage, debate me once, debate me twice.
Well, I hope he comes out on the main because I love to see the diversity. But maybe it might just be from nope. I try to like
Tried so
do
hard,
the
yeah.
mental gymnastics to try to make it happen, but that's exactly what's not going to happen. And in terms of escorting this, we have Org not getting that hunker down defense. They're actually going to rock that dive defense with Danid on that Genji. MorningStars, something that we always see is the payload. Move into this first bridge area here. We didn't see that last time because MorningStars tried that sneaky defense that ended up causing a lot of harm to them and causing harm to the big one is 12 with a damage boost, I believe, on to that D.Va. And so this is going to open it up for the defense. And with this kind of defense that we have, Org is running that dive. The kills should come in just a second, especially with that D-Mech. And Dragon Eddy is going to be the last one to fall for MorningStars before this full reset.
Yep, that's the thing. We have Org. They don't have a lot of sustain themselves. They're running a Widowmaker Genji, so it's all going to be about the one shot or, get in, get out fast. But one kill is oftentimes all they need, and Big One is actually going to swap off onto the McCree once again. We didn't see him make a huge impact on this hero, but definitely a very smart counter against any kind of team that's running a Genji.
Exactly. And so way fast, he popped off last round. His team is looking for him to do the same thing. Big One is rocking that McCree right now, and that is something that we haven't seen very often thus far, I believe, in either game that we've seen, but can be very effective against Danid and that Genji if the deflect is down. And like we said earlier, Wayfast needed to pop off, and he's starting to do that with that headshot on Luft. And the line pro just standing in the middle of MorningStars Blue. And Danid's going to go ahead and unsheath the blade. And anytime this has happened, he's gotten at least 2 kills, except for that one time the Zenyatta scared him away. 2 kills, Big One and Dragon Eddy going to be the other end of that sword hand.
It's okay, man. Yeah, he didn't even want the kills. That was exactly as planned. 100% calculated. We just wanted to get the trance out, right? It's definitely what he's yelling into the team comms. But not a bad defense from We Have Org as well. But MorningStars Blue, they got a lot of free distance on the payload, and which is always a trade you're going to be able to take, especially when you know that the enemy team has already finished the map, and you must do the same if you are to push this into extra innings. Because once again, folks, this is 2-1 for We Have Org, and if We Have Org take this, they will clinch the series. Now, though,
exactly, and they're really, really close to doing that. Looking at these ultimates, the Valkyrie is going to pop out. No mercy on the side of MorningStar here on the offense. So the heals are going to be available for We Have Org. Urshad are going to go down and get 3, I believe. Wayfat's getting a couple headshots, but because of those heals, not going to get those kills, but is going to have the wall hacks. If you're going to get held on Junkertown on A, it's going to be right here, but 0.95 meters means someone from We Have Org is going to need to maintain presence on that point. And with that Transcendence, it's going to help his team do that and heal up. 6 people still alive for We Have Org, but no! They're going to get off of the point and get MorningStars 1 point, 3 minutes and 37 seconds to complete B.
Yeah, MorningStars, they will take at least point A, and they need it, but they're going to have to wait for quite some time before they can recollect themselves for a good coordinated 6-man push, as Danid just diving in there, twinkle toes over here, very light on his feet, getting in those dash resets, and he will have the blade for this next fight. So, well, okay, not the next one. The next one. Caster Curse is real.
You hear it in the deep south, right? Danid is going to come back with that Dragon Blade, and he's been absolutely destructive with them thus far. Big One, showing a little bit of life here for the first time so far in this map. Wall hacks available, but Junkrat going to try to take him down. That's exactly what's going to happen. Junkrat butters him up. Wayfast cuts through it. The Big One is going to go down. It's a 5v6 for We Have Org right now. Wayfast being pretty accurate on that Widowmaker, but Line Pro is going to get accurate to Midna's life and take him down. And the Jinny's going to do the same thing. Support's coming in hot for MorningStars Blue, and they are going to get progress from the payload as the rest of We Have Org are in an awkward position behind MorningStars Blue right now. So they're going to have to do something or else either kill themselves or attack or try this pincer move. But the Big One is going to get Jofi as they're kind of just trying to reset at this point.
Oh, but the grapple from Wayfast just managed to touch the payload long enough for Midna to get on. Not going to be making too much of a difference in the very end, though. Twals, I'm actually really curious what this Junkrat was. You saw him earlier kind of farting around in the back. He's likely going to have a tire. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to regroup with the rest of his team without getting caught up. Junkrat, wherefore art thou, Junkrat? But
that reminded me. Yeah, so that reminded me of like at Homecoming, like the awkward kids standing on either side of the hall waiting to dance with each other.
You're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, all right, cool. Just commit, guys. And because they didn't, they got punished for it. But Twals is gonna get the kill on the Jinny, and that's probably... Oh, but no, Big One is going to even it up, so that is not going to be a reset. That's going to be a Transcendence coming out of Dance. The Big One is actually going to be the hotter Widowmaker right now, but Dan is going to try his best to knock him off the high ground. Is actually not going to get any kills thus far, so this has been the quietest his Widowmaker, his Doofus has been so far this series, and MorningStars looking at that rally, looking at the Graviton Surge. They definitely have the advantage here with 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And here we go. That is the Graviton Surge that we were talking about. Is the follow-up going to be there? And kind of, as one of the kills is going to come out. And a clutch res from Jovi's going to save Minda's knife, but cost his own. And this is going to be a huge meteor strike. Dan is going to get luck, but whoa, my goodness. It looked like it was a back-and-forth battle until Twolz gets 4 kills to end that attack, Ham.
Twolz has more than redeemed himself for his positioning kerfuffle there towards the beginning of this point C fight. The original tire got 1, the second one got 3, so a much better return on investment. It actually is going to trigger swaps from MorningStars Blue as well. They themselves going onto the full dive with Najini on that Genji now. So Genji Widowmaker, Big One, finds the drop on Wayfast, and that's going to be an excellent start.
Yeah, and no res for 30 seconds, so there's definitely an opening for MorningStars, but Wayfast is going to try to close that with Dance getting the headshot from Wayfast Widow. These Widows are both doing really well for their team. It's kind of who's hot in that current moment, and Dan is going to make it pretty cold for the Big One, going down into the grave thanks to those rockin' fists. And once again, Dan is hopping off on this Doomfist. Is he going to be able to get to DMEC on Diva? Why, yes, he is. I'm sorry for doubting you. Going to stagger out Dragon Eddie as well, Ham.
No, Dan had heard you. He heard you, Boop, talking smack over there. He's like, I'll show you a poppin' Doomfist. Yeah.
I'll show you a maybe.
I'll show you, yeah. But we have Org looking really solid here. MorningStars Blue, there's no way that they can beat We Have Org's time bank, but they do still at least have one more push to try and finish out this map. We Have Org, though, on the precipice of taking this series against a very close and hotly contested match so far. They want this win so badly they can taste it. Wayfest has popped that Widow's sight. Cassie's boss and Jofi are both ready with those support ultimates as Janet is looking for the kills.
Very good dodge by Najini there, using the wall climb to get out of the way of the meteor strike. Not going to get anybody except for the Big One, just the old-fashioned way. Danid saving his team once again, especially with that DMAC, and you're going to want to stagger that out. You do not want to kill Dragon Eddie right now because 28 seconds, he's going to have to go back to spawn, get back into the mech, and lose all of that ult charge. So Dragon, unless they're going to try to get him back in the mech, 68% available, so it looks like that's what they're trying to do here. MorningStars Blue is definitely at a disadvantage until Dragon Eddie can get that mech back. No defense matrix, they're pretty much rocking only one tank at that point in time, and Love is going to go down with Primal Rage. That is a huge Transcendence going to come out because of Danid steering the Dance right off of his pants, and Wayfast is going to get into Ginny himself. Danid one more time. We have Org coming in clutch in the clutchest of moments, specifically Danid. We're seeing that experience. We're seeing that Doomfist clutch up, and we have Org going to push this into overtime. This is going to probably be it, as Line Pro has been taken away from the fight. Meteor Strike already available. Guys, remember, he opens the fight with a Meteor Strike and possibly will close the round with it, as he's going to go towards possibly get Tracer. No, but because of the way the spawns work, We Have Org are going to win this series 3-1 on the side of Wayfast and Danon's DPS play, but also want to compliment the rest of the team as they all had moments to shine, especially here with Twolz's quadruple kill on Junkertown. We're going to see this here in just 1 second. So he's going to throw that tire and he's going to change this fight. Here it is, and then going to get the conk kill here right after that. Ooh, mid-air. That's nice. But really, really great work from We Have Org, taking down MorningStars, who a lot of people thought would stay on top of the standings, but they're actually going to move down because of that loss and that 3-1 map differential. Ham, is this what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was going to be a little bit of a closer game coming into it. But I mean, in the end, the Doomfist was just such an unusual pick. As we know, these teams, have not had a lot of time to play on this new patch. So MorningStars forced to think, really quickly on their feet, as their mainstay team composition has been kind of thrown to the wind with the patch. But just the fact that Danid can bring out such an unusual hero as the Doomfist is really not just there for the kills, not just there for the disruption, but the zoning as well. As we saw, Line Pro on the Mercy was actually still alive at the very end of that last overtime push, but the Doomfist was just able to cut her off entirely from the rest of the team. Didn't even need to get the kill. That's the big thing, is that you just physically can't get past this enormous hulking guy that's standing in the hallway, and the Bunny Blaster not going to be doing too much there. So even though he didn't find the kill, good old Father Time still did a big one for the side of We Have Org, as they will be taking this series.
Yeah, and they set themselves up huge for getting into Overwatch Contenders proper, because they beat a top-level team. So, as the tournament progresses, these kinds of wins become more and more important, especially if they are 3-1s or 3-0s. But I believe that is it for the Hamasaurus duo here, or the Boop, however you would like to call it. It's been a pleasure casting for you guys. And for the desk, I have two things I definitely want to hear about. Number one, that yakety sax attack on Hanamura, and then number two, that defense that the Sonic Arrow on Junkertown spotted out and then trapped them in the room. MorningStars, I believe. But I'm going to let you guys do your job. KT, Panda, take it away.
We're going to talk about it. Thanks so much, the Hammer, whatever you call it. I think that's what he called it. Hey, all that matters here is that you win when it counts. And this is something where we saw We Have Org struggle twice against this team, lose 3-2, come in when it matters, winning 3-1 here. I mean, that's gotta feel pretty good. Get that off your chest, Panda.
Yeah, man. If they definitely have any past transgressions, it's definitely that. And you got to be feeling good, to your point, KTP, walking in here and really shutting down and making it known that triple DPS can work against a Titan like MorningStars Blue.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about some of these matches here. And I honestly kind of let's start with what Boop was talking about on Hanamura with the Storm Arrow, right? And all the chaos that ensued there. Can you break it down for me?
Honestly, it was just so nutty the entire time. I think to the point where he was talking about pointing out why Sonic Arrow is so good, just catching out so many members of the team and just moving in like a Mack truck. I mean, that's one of the more beautiful parts about the composition coming out on Hanamura, brought to you by I believe they had the speed boost coming into that attack, walking into the part A, as well as most teams do these days, regardless of the fact it happened. And if you blinked, that's why Boop wanted us to comment on it. Just got obliterated. But I mean, that second point is what really this entire map was all about for me. KTP, I mean, there was a lot of hero swaps coming out and around. I saw a lot of microaggressions coming out from our wonderful chat against the Soldier 76. I like the Soldier 76 pick personally. It just was so hard because they were just shut down before they could even see all 6 members on point B at certain points.
Yeah, and we've seen the Soldier 76 before on that map. So I get it. I get it. Samsung fired back on Hanamura, have a really strong defense. But then we go on to Junkertown, and we see We Have Org use an unpirate shipped Bastion. And I mean, how did you like this pick? Was this a pick that works for you? Are you a fan?
Honestly, everything that they were pulling out here, We Have Org, they were pulling out so many weird what face compositions. I mean, the unpirate ship Bastion, sure, it might as well work. I mean, the triple DPS composition works. So I feel like at this point, John, they can do whatever they want. It's gonna go ahead and work. That there's so little pressure off of whatever presidented DPS they put on their team, whether it is a Widowmaker, a Doomfist, or even a Tracer. They are very honed on making sure that player in particular gets the heals, gets the position, and gets the kills.
So, I mean, ultimately here, I think the big question I have is where did the MorningStars fall short here? Because I just when you look at it on paper, again, just kind of like the previous match, there's clear advantages here for MorningStars Blue. And Well, they kind of MorningStars blew it a little bit. So what? So like, what were the big takeaways here that really gave We Have Org the advantage?
It was that triple DPS composition. You saw they fell back on it. I feel every single map I saw a triple DPS composition flexing of the sort around Dand. I mean, whether it was Dand on Genji or Doomfist, Wayfast on Widow or Tracer, the Junkrat coming out as well. It was just it was immense. It's so hard to deal with that, in fact. And I think where MorningStars Blue fell short ever so slightly was just dealing with it. I mean, in certain maps, different hero compositions can pull it out, but it's so hard, especially with the big macro play that we know MorningStars Blue likes to play. What 2 DPS do we need to pick? I mean, I believe that I saw on one point there for MorningStars Blue on Junkertown attack, actually, that the big one swaps from Widow, McCree, then Widow, completely negating any ult economy whatsoever. And that can be a deficit, yes, but it gave them an entryway. And I think that Widowmaker, and maybe even adding a little bit of Genji, homage to Coach Krusty on the San Francisco Shock, pulling out a Genji and a Widowmaker to elongate sightlines and let the Genji find his way into the backline to dislodge the Widowmaker, so that way your squishies can be a little bit more I don't know. I mean, there's no so that way they're alive. You know, it's a little bit more of an easier time for your tanks to push onto the front line.
So, MorningStars Blue, we start out on Junkertown. We see a pretty strong offense from We Have Org, and then MorningStars Blue are basically stymied before point A. Right? They're getting really close to overtime. Things aren't looking good. And they actually find a way to turn it around to a point where they're about 20 meters away from the final point with about 2.5 minutes left. How did they go from getting stomped on point A in Junkertown to making it really close at the end? And honestly, had they won just one more fight, finishing that map with a pretty decent time advantage.
I think it all comes down to, again, just the fantastic coordination in between the DPS for We Have Org. I mean, to have that much coordination, your comms are very intense. I mean, for all 3 DPS to work like that, but for MorningStars Blue to come out on top of those ending team fights, to answer your question, I think it mostly came down to the big one, landing those very key 1v1 duels onto Wayfast, that it really was only to the point around, I think, point B, that the Wayfast really started getting very cheeky, getting hard flanks going, that they started calling him out on it, and they really started negating it as well. And that was their entry point on their attack as well, just shutting down the Widowmaker, keeping the front line alive, keeping their healers alive as well, so that way they can become a little bit less stymie as well, and just really push that darn payload. They had to really make sure that they were sticking to it. They had a win condition for sure, and a minute in the time bank was definitely a winnable clause for them coming in here. And I think they almost nailed it. They were just falling up a little bit short on the immense play. I mean, once the Widowmaker was out of the way, there was a Doomfist just punching your Zenyatta out of the way, and then once that was dealt with, there was just Junkrat nades coming out of nowhere. It's just so crazy to deal with that. It really takes a lot of teams just to really go back to the drawing board and say everything's fine. We just need to stick together and just deal with this accordingly. And that's one of the things about a triple DPS composition. It doesn't really give you that much breathing room to do so.
Well, Panda, I know you and I had to wake up early this morning because we're NA, obviously, casting EU. We've got to do the stretches and stuff. But before I let you go, I've got to ask you one last question. That is your MVP for the match. Who stood out most for you?
I feel like everybody's going to expect me to say Dand, but I'm actually going to say Wayfast. And the reason why I'm going to say Wayfast
No bias.
Yeah, right. No bias whatsoever. Wayfast, actually, on that last point, he went huge. And the one thing that was really just above all amazing was that flank. I mean, he pulled Line Pro so far away from the front line that he ended up coming back around on the flank on point B Junkertown to land 3 headshots back to back to back and get back on the point. Free resurrection. Bam. 3 more members on the point for We Have Org on the payload. And they just kind of waltzed back into that third point of Junkertown. But what really sold it for me was the tracking of the Junkrat rip tires. I saw so many different positionings using of that hook cooldown to gain an advantage, to find where Junkrat was channeling the ultimate, and not only to find where he was, but to track the Riptire itself. It's very key for Widowmakers to do so, and it's very easy when you have the Widow's Kiss at 100% charge.
Fair enough. I'm glad you said way fast because I tweeted him during the match and said he's one of my favorite players to watch from Open Division and now Contenders Trials. So kudos to him. Kudos to the entire We Have Org team, I guess is the right word for it. And good luck to MorningStars Blue as they continue to move forward. We're about to wrap it up. And before we do, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. We actually, or not episode, but broadcast. Tomorrow, we do have 2 more matches for you, starting at 1400, I guess. I don't know. It's like Army time. It's CEST. 1400, we're going to see Bazooka Puppies versus Disband. And then right after at 1600 CEST, it's Northern Lights versus 1 Point. That's 8 a.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Eastern time for those of us in U.S. time zones needing a little bit of help with the bearings. Before you go, let me tell you a little bit about Broadcast.gg. Broadcast.gg is an amazing resource to help you grow as a broadcaster, as a producer, as a host, as an analyst, whatever you're looking to do on the side of production things. They've got you covered with amazing resources. Whether it's other people or getting the experience that you need to kind of hone in those skills. So make sure to follow them on Twitter at broadcast.gg. Don't make me say it, chat. I'm going to say it. Spell out broadcast, DOTGG.
Spell it out.
Follow us right here by hitting that follow button up there. There's also a subscribe button too. Hey, got that Amazon Prime thing going on. You can always hit subscribe there. And then, of course, join our Discord by clicking on the Discord panel down below. My thanks to Panda for Bupasaurus, Ham Tornado, Blank, Leg Day, Sunkern, Mushu Beef, everybody who was a part of the broadcast team today. It was an amazing time. I'll wake up this early anytime to hang out with you guys. That's going to do it for another Broadcast GG production of Overwatch Contenders EU. We'll be back tomorrow with some more.